I didn't know how to talk about what I've learned this past week or so. I managed to write it down. I'm going to read my entry in my healing journal. I learned this past month that I make myself smaller, less pretty, less smart, less fashionable. I give way for other women because I learned it from being a threat to my own stepmother. It is not my responsibility to make other women feel less threatened by me. Those who do are foes. From now on, I will shine bright, not hold back, wear my best clothes, feel my prettiest, stand tall, speak up, be smart, successful, take up space, because most women, and the right women, are not threatened by it. I will no longer hold responsibility for how others feel. I now hold space lovingly and with room to share. I no longer feel shame in taking up space, being seen, or being heard, because humans are safe and actually really cute. Hey, I'm going to talk to you about the amazing therapy session I just had. Long story short, I kind of realized that I carry through my childhood trauma a need to make myself smaller around other people, but especially around other women, because with my relationship with my stepmother, it was incredibly unsafe for me to outshine her, and it looks like I carried this throughout my entire life until this point with all my friendship with all other women. I don't know if this makes any sense, but ultimately what the therapy made me realize is that I don't have to make myself smaller to make other people comfortable. I definitely don't have to make myself smaller to keep the peace. What I am supposed to do is be myself and shine as bright as I want to be, and the right person will not be threatened by that, and the right person will nurture that even and care for that. So in a way, if anyone is uncomfortable with me doing well, that's not for me. It's not my responsibility to carry. Quick fit. I am getting ready to go out. I'm heading to Hampstead, which I have never been to. I'm talking low because my husband's home and I don't really feel like being heard today. What? Why am I making myself small? I don't want to be heard even by my husband. What's that about? I need to repractice all the things that I have learned to be seen and take space. So what I'm going to do today is make sure that I speak up when I speak, and I make sure that I take space and I don't put my eyes down and I don't hide away, because I can easily get sucked back into this weird space that I really don't want to be into. My dog is about to lose his nonsense. It's fine. It's the evening, the week has ended, and I wanted to share something that happened while I was at uni, which kind of blew my mind. So I started to make friends and I started to get to know people. And one day, one of the days throughout the week, we went out for coffee after the classroom, and we were talking about how, how we were experiencing those first few days at uni. And I told them how I told them about my anxiety, about not necessarily my social anxiety, but I told them about how I'm practicing my public speaking in class because I'm really anxious and it's not something that I'm comfortable with. And I was really taken aback and surprised by their reaction because their perspective of me is so different from what I experience in my inner world. To explain it, in order for me to combat my public speaking fears, I practice public speaking whenever I'm in public. And that means during university classes, sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. Okay, I got it. And what that means is during class, I try to ask as many questions as I can, or whenever I have a question, I make sure I ask it because it's kind of like an exposure therapy for me. Like the more I ask questions, the more I interact with the teachers, the more comfortable I feel. But what I didn't realize is that that kind of put me in a group of the people in class who very often speak up and who I think are seem very confident. These girls I was talking to, they put me also in that category of people who are confident because I speak so often in class, and it was like, no, I speak so much in class because I'm not confident. And they really surprised me when they said, like, it does not come across that way at all. They said to me, like, you are confident, you are doing it, you are talking in class, so what are you talking about? What do you mean you need to take beta blockers? I saw you speak in class. That doesn't make any sense. Like, what I'm experiencing and how they perceive me is so far opposite from each other. I don't really know what to do with that information. Because it's like, yeah, they're right. I am doing it. So why am I so anxious about it? Like, it blew my mind. It really did. Good morning. This is the next day. I have gotten ready already to go and see the Freud Museum in Hampstead. I am a bit of a geek when it comes to Freud because when I was younger, I wanted to be a psychotherapist. The first thing I learned about psychology, or anything I learned about psychology at the beginning, was all related to Freud. And I don't know if it's the reason why, but if I had become a psychotherapist, I would have chosen psychodynamics as my first choice because it is my favorite. And I wanted to have, like you see in a movie, psychotherapist office with like the brown leather couch and stuff, which is what Freud had. Yeah. So I'm super excited and I hope they let me film. Hi guys. Sorry for the darkness. It is literally 1:30 p.m. and this is how dark it is outside. So I did go to the Freud Museum and I kind of got my phone stolen. I filmed a lot of it, took lots of pictures. It was really nice place to go, but it also means that I lost all footage, all videos, everything. Nothing was stored on my iCloud, so everything was erased. So we're gonna start up from here again. Hopefully I don't get my phone stolen again, so I can finish this video. I'm finishing my coffee right now and I'm going to head out to a Christmas market in southeast London. I'll take you with me and then I'll catch up with you right after. My phone is now in a chain. Nobody's stealing that. Is it cute fit? Kind of. Whatever. Let's go. Like a coffee? They asked like so. So earlier in the video I talked about what happens when you become a people pleaser
and you lose your authentic self essentially. And I wanted to expand a bit on that because someone asked me yesterday, like, how does that happen? How do you lose your sense of self? Is that really even a thing? How do you develop an identity, etc., etc.? And the thing is, when you grow up in a toxic environment, or you stay, or you're in a long-term toxic relationship, you do lose your sense of self, because you need to lose it in order to survive that environment. You need to put yourself, your identity, everything about you that you like, your opinions, etc., you need to put them aside and adapt to the environment that you're in to survive. And since surviving is always the priority for the brain, it will always put that first, even before you develop your sense of self. And if this happens as a child, then you never get the chance to develop a sense of self. And things go wrong when you eventually leave this environment, but you know nothing else. You carry on these, which now become maladaptive defense mechanism, into the rest of your life and all your other relationships. And until there is a click moment where you somehow become awake and realize that, oh my god, I have no identity. I have just learned my entire life to do what everyone else needs me to do so that I can feel safe, even though I'm actually safe. And I never asked myself, who am I? And that was pretty much my journey. And the other thing I wanted to touch on was, how do I now deal then with uncomfortable situations, or situations which might be considered as toxic or negative. And I learned to do this, which I think is what someone with a healthy brain, healthy environment, someone who has grown up in a healthy environment naturally does. But some of us have to learn that. And it's to, when someone does something that I don't like, that is offensive, or that makes me feel some type of way, I never jump to the conclusion that I don't like that person, or that person's toxic, or something wrong with that person, or something wrong with me. I immediately ask myself 2 questions. Does this person have ill intention? And what is triggering me in this context? And usually, like 99% of the time, the person does not have bad intentions, and it's an opportunity for me to work on something I didn't know was a trigger. If you don't take things personally, things don't affect you the same way. And it's really hard to then become cynical and to judge people. And instead, it gives you an opportunity to see growth everywhere, and to appreciate that everybody can teach you something about yourself. And you avoid a lot of conflicts, and make a lot of deep connection instead. I don't know if what I said makes any sense. And lastly, other people can't make you feel anything, and you can't make anybody else feel anything. You're in charge of how you feel. So if you're around someone and you feel some type of way, they didn't do that to you. You did that to you. And ask yourself, what is it about what they said or what they did that is triggering sadness or anger or whatever negative emotion or joy? What does that mean? Where does it come from? Why does it matter to me? And work through that. And 99% of the time you will realize that it has nothing to do with the other person and everything to do with you. And when you see the world that way, it makes it really hard to dislike anybody, because all it does is teach you more about yourself. Except in the 1 tiny percent of the time where the other person actually has ill intention. And even then, the healthy thing to do is just to put space between you and that person and not engage. But like I said, that is really, really rarely the case. Like in my entire life, I maybe have met 2 people like that. So yeah, and remember, everybody wants to be liked, everybody wants to feel loved, and everybody wants to feel included. And that is usually the reason behind anyone misbehaving, I would say. So ultimately, to resolve any issue, give people the feeling that they're being heard and appreciated, and watch how different the world around you becomes. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that.